Greetings everyone, and welcome back to Pep Organ. Today I had the pleasure of speaking to Anthony Roth Constanzo, who is serving currently as the director of the Opera Philadelphia. He's a pioneer and a figurehead in the current music space in Philadelphia, doing lots of innovations, one of which being the reducing of concert tickets of operas in Philadelphia down to $11 for every show, and has seen mass attendance, basically record numbers attending all these operas. He's also been responsible in recent times for raising $1 million, which are going to be used to support the Wanamaker Organ. This is a new initiative that is allowing the organ to be used in recitals and for the light show, and also for a number of various performances, including singers and some stage performance as well. Lots of really exciting things happening at the Wanamaker Organ. And what's so special about this is not just the fact that he's raised the money and is getting the Wanamaker organ played again, which is a wonderful thing, but also the fact that he's actually not an organist himself. He is an opera singer with also a past in Broadway, and he's done lots of collaborations, but doesn't play the organ at all. However, he understands the value of the organ in the community there, and realizes that to bring new audiences requires a program that's diverse and varied, not just organ recitals, but a whole range of different things. And this is looking really great for the future for what's happening at the Wanamaker. So I do have an interview with him, so you can hear what he has to say about the project. I hope you enjoy. So I'm Titus. I'm an organist from Sydney, and I play at the Sydney Town Hall organ, which is a bit like the Wanamaker, a very grand and historic organ. And I'm trying to find ways to engage audiences, new audiences, and get the instrument heard more often. So what I want to talk to you especially about is what you've been doing, which sounds very exciting with the Wanamaker organ, and how you've managed to accomplish that. Just want to start off with a bit about yourself. Obviously, you've done a huge amount of things in your career. It looks amazing. And most recently, you were appointed as the director of the Opera Philadelphia. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
So in that role, it sounds like a lot of what your goal is to bring new audiences to opera. You've done very unique things like the lowering of the ticket prices. Just tell me a little bit about your work with the opera in the last year or so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an opera singer myself. I've been singing opera for 30 years. And when I took over as the general director and president of Opera Philadelphia, I saw that the organization needed a new business model. Tickets weren't selling and the finances weren't good. So I thought, what is one of the barriers to entry for opera? People feel like it's elitist. People don't understand necessarily this very interdisciplinary idea that music comes together with theater, with dance, with fashion, with art, with all kinds of technology, and is put on stage. So I made every ticket for every show for the entire season $11, and or pick your price. And we became the only sold out opera company in America. And we also brought in a new audience, 67% first time ticket buyers, with a lot of other diversity across all demographics. And it was really thrilling to see that audience engage with the opera, love it, and think about the possibilities it opened up and what an opera company could mean to the community, what the art form could provoke in terms of ideas, and how we could reinvent the business model for nonprofits in a very challenging environment in American arts right now.
It's obviously quite difficult at the moment, and funding must be hard to come by. So they must have put a lot of trust in you to manage to, try that experiment. And well done to you for pulling it off. And it sounds really excellent. Is that something that is going to continue happening? Those ticket prices?
Yes, we're 79% sold out for next season, which doesn't start for 2 months. So our tickets are still pick your price. You can buy a full price subscription if you want. You can come for $11 and sit in the front row. So I'm really thrilled that it's continuing, and we've doubled the number of performances in our upcoming season.
Oh, fantastic. So how many performances is that now?
We have 5 different productions with 18 performances plus a gala performance. And now when we add our new initiative with the Wanamaker space, we're going to have many more performances.
That's fantastic. So I want to talk a little bit about that, just so I'm on top of what's going on at the Wanamaker. So my understanding was that Macy's closed in about March, and then it was sort of unused for quite a few months, and then, well, the new business that's taken over, TF Cornerstone, is the one that you're working with at the moment, and you were able to also attain a grant for $1 million to put on a series of concerts, essentially. Is that right?
Yep, exactly. And I saw this building has incredible history. It has a huge grand court that's 7 stories high, in which the largest fully functioning pipe organ in the world, the Wanamaker Organ 6, which with its almost 29,000 pipes. And when I understood that Macy's, which occupied that space and dealt with the organ and keeping it available to the public, had closed, I was able to talk to the new developer who had the space and work out an agreement with them to present art and culture in that space over the course of the next 6 months, and activate it in all kinds of ways, with the organ at the center of all of that, spurring on different performances, opportunities to party there, opportunities to be in the space with the organ, for food to be there, for people to interact with it in a way they might not imagine an organ to be a part of their world.
And that's fantastic too, because I think that expanding the horizon of what the organ is used for is a big part of what's going to attract audiences and basically more musicians as well to appreciate this instrument, as obviously you do. Now, I assume, have you heard the organ before and in performance?
Yes, it's an amazing instrument. It sounds like much like yours there. It is a symphony orchestra. It can do so many things. It's such a complex instrument, and the string section sounds like a string section. The woodwinds sound like woodwinds. The trumpets sound like trumpets. So there's a real warm embrace. And what's extraordinary is that this space, the Grand Court, was usually filled with shopping and all kinds of textiles and different people and things. This is the first time, really, since the organ has been in there, that it's empty and has a 7-second delay, cathedral acoustics that really benefit the power and the largesse of this incredible instrument. So I'm excited for people to hear it in a way that they've never heard it before.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was reading about how it has a sort of cathedral-esque acoustic now, I was amazed. Like that means even better, for the sound. It's kind of a perfect sort of accident, I suppose.
Yeah.
In terms of the Wanamaker organ, is there any plan for what's happening to the existing Wanamaker organists? Will they be involved in this?
Oh, absolutely. Peter Conti has been the organist there for an eternity, I feel, and he knows everything, as you can imagine, and as you know better than most. It's not easy to see a new instrument and necessarily just know how to play it. There's ins and outs of it. So Peter is our guide, and all of the history, all of the people who preserved the organ, all the people who've been involved in it for decades are the people who are going to determine, what happens there. And one of those people is the incredible Fred Haas, whose foundation gave us the $1 million grant. But we also have support from the developer and support from the Pew Charitable Trust to introduce this organ to more people. So it's a really exciting opportunity for us, for the instrument, and also for the imagination of the public to expand what they think of when they think of an organ.
Excellent. And was it being a big member of the Philadelphia musical community, as you are, a pioneer, I suppose, with what's going on now? Is that partly what inspired you to, go out and seek this opportunity and make it happen?
Yeah, I think that this organ and this space means a lot to people. People have spent so many holidays there. There's a big brass eagle in the center of the space, and everybody used to meet at that eagle and go shopping and hear their Christmas music and the Christmas light show. There's an amazing emotional resonance. So if there's any way in the world that we live in now to experience joy, to experience nostalgia, for art to take us someplace, to transport us, this is it. And that space and the emotional resonance of it was not a commodity I wanted to squander or let be, left aside. And I think it has tremendous power. And obviously, I'm an artist, but I'm also a business person. And I know that the value of our brand in bringing that to people, the value of the brand of the developer and bringing that to people, that all is the kind of connection that we need to make in order to be relevant to people and to bring more art to people. So, that's ultimately my mission. How can I bring more art to people and make it connect better? And this seems like the perfect way to continue that.
Well, it's definitely a way to engage community in a particular way. It's not just sort of sitting back and sort of waiting for someone to solve the problems of the world. It's really going out there, and I think it's fantastic. I'd love to
Thanks.
see that happen more often. In especially in our country, we don't have such a strong tradition of fundraising and philanthropy as you do in the US. So I did want to ask you what sort of advice you might have to we have I actually know of some organs right now that have not been played for decades. A lot of people would love to see them played, but it's hard to get certain people on board, whether it's members of council or whether it's just investors in general. I wondered what your take is on that.
It's a game of Machiavellian politics to make art happen. I think my biggest advice is if you have a goal, how can you find the way in which that is also someone else's goal and create a win-win situation? With my developer TFC and the Wanamaker space, they want this to continue to be important to the public because then whatever they sell there, whether it's a retail shop, a business, an office rental, a condo for an apartment, people will have a connection to the space and they'll have a connection to the company. That's good business. If I could make that case to them, I can get them to support it. So what case are you making to the people who have the power? And how are you doing that in a compelling way that's not just, I want this to happen. I think that art should happen and you should too. Rather, this is good for you and it's good for everyone else. So it's inevitable. How do you make it feel inevitable? Whether that's the funder, whether that's the developer, whether that's the owner of the space, whether that's the person in press who you're talking to. How do you create those kind of win-win situations? To me, that is really crucial. And that extends to funding. There's different kinds of funding. There's individuals, there's corporations, and there's foundations. Each one of those things has their own mission, and you have to make whatever you're creating fit squarely in the center of their field of vision.
Yeah, I see. Because it would vary in sort of case to case, whether you're approaching sort of an individual with a particular interest or in some case like a non-profit or something that's out there to try and support businesses, but only has to be selective about what they choose. I can understand that for sure. So the money that you've raised, obviously, it looks like it's going to be sort of at least 6 months of programming, as well as what I was reading is like lots of different things. It's not pure organ recitals, right? There's lots of different things you've got on. Is there anything you're particularly excited about in that in what's happening?
Well, I'm thrilled that the composer, Natalie Joachim, who's amazing, is going to bring her work into that space as our composer in residence. We have a big kickoff party with Ballet X, an incredible contemporary ballet company. We have Mural Arts making a mural in the space. We have the Bearded Ladies, an amazing cabaret, working upstairs in the Greek hall with the theater organ, a Wurlitzer that's in that space that's separate. We're going to screen silent films accompanied live by the organ for Halloween. So there's all kinds of activations, and it'll all culminate around the holidays when the visitors center is putting in an incredible light show, holiday light show, and we'll activate that with more performance and big opportunities for holiday celebration around the organ, which is a legacy of that space. So there's a lot that we're going to jam into those months, and I hope that it makes both the developer and the public enthusiastic about what's possible there in the future.
That's wonderful to hear, Anthony. Is there any thought of what would happen to the space and what might happen artistically after this period, after the light show and all the performances?
I think that it's up to the public to show the developer that this is something they want and this is something they're enthusiastic about. And then I think it's undeniable that with such an incredible open space and such an incredible instrument, there has to be a future. And how do we shape that? How do we carve that together? How can the community help dictate that. I think that will all become clear as we engage with the space and the instrument in this next really charged period of activity.
Would your ideal sort of future for the instrument be a continuing sort of series of annual performances?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And knowing that the developer knowing that there's an audience, there's a hunger for that. What's the business model for that? What's the way to engage with the maintenance of the organ and how that all works together will be really crucial. And so, we want to imagine a future in which this instrument is both played a lot and heard a lot. And so it continues to be a centerpiece in the world's, constellation of great pipe organs like yours there in Sydney.
Yeah, Anthony, that's really wonderful. And we all want to see that organ played more often. And to new audiences, it's been something that, it just used to be something that shoppers would hear, and they may not have been expecting it, but suddenly the organ started playing. And that sort of same surprise might reach new people who don't really know what they're in for, but they're invited to come to something at that building now and hear an amazing performance. So that's really great news. And you may be one of the well, you're not an organist yourself, I presume, but you're being one of the.
My feet are not coordinated enough. You'd have to teach me. But yes, I wish I was.
But you must be one of the biggest advocates for the organ right now, with what you're doing, and it's great because I think that quite often an organist might just be advocating, as you would expect, for the organ, and not have this broader plan that you're bringing to the table through your experience through opera, but also through like a lot of other things you've done throughout your career. So that's the really exciting thing for me is that it's also bringing a diversity and a sort of broadness to the vision of the instrument.
Well, thank you. I think, it is all a part of this art form and this music that moves us. And that's what opera can do really well is be an umbrella for all of the different components, all the different pieces in a place where they come together. All the great composers have seen it as that way throughout history, and those composers also wrote for organ. And so I love this coming together. And I have to say, selfishly, I've already gotten to sing with the organ, and I can't wait to do that more. It's a very unique experience. So it's exciting.
Excellent. It'd be great for you to perform there too, as well, I hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Anthony. I've got to get going to my next thing. So I really appreciate your time. And look, all the best to you. I understand the first performance is in September. Is
Yes.
that right? Yep. So I hope it all goes really well. I'll be following from Sydney, Australia. Maybe you can. I hope you can sort of live stream or record some of those performances too. I'd love to be able to see them here. I can't travel over at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will definitely try and do that. And I look forward to following what you're doing as well. So thanks for taking time to talk.
Great. Thanks so much. Take care.